Yes, that's got it. Okay. So with that, good morning, everyone, or good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And thank you for attending the first ever Qti.ai Canvas event. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone just one more time that this event's going to be recorded and it's going to be posted on our social media. So if I go fast or you want to relook at something, you'll be able to do that post the event. We're about to get started, so let's get started with some quick introductions. So I'm going to go first. My name is Will Boychuk, and I'm the founder and CTO of Qti.ai. I founded Qti in 2020 and have been working on developing it ever since. Throughout my journey so far, I've been able to work with all of you, or many of you, to further innovations in the scam fighting and scam detection communities. I've also been able to help pivot the scam intelligence innovations of Qti into a product that allows for truly affordable and accessible brand protection for small businesses. Here are some fun facts about me. When I'm not fighting scams or developing Qti, you can find me raising my 6 chickens. You can see one of them there in front of a Qti sign. You can also find me building robots. I build suction-held robots for organizations such as the United States Navy and the Canadian Navy, as well as some companies in Japan to help with inspections of their concrete infrastructures. I also help mentor a local first FTC robotics team, Team 5356, Team TARDIS. Now let me introduce Qti.ai's Chief Strategist, Cheryl Dara.
Hi. I actually spent most of my career in international enrollment management, basically helping non-US students find the right fit at US universities. That led to developing a funds verification initiative that complied with the federal government mandate for student visa applicants to prove financial capacity. So essentially, we empowered applicants and their financial sponsors to point their online banking data to the authority who requested it. So I'm especially excited about the global nature of Qti and the partnerships we're forming to kind of follow the money of scams and counterfeits around the world. In addition to long-term planning for Qti, I handle social media content, scheduling, accounts payables, receivables. Fun fact, I delivered newspapers when I was a kid, New York Times, Philadelphia Inquirer. So I've always been a bit of a morning person. We know that Will definitely likes late nights. So Sarah, do you prefer mornings or evenings?
Mornings, big morning person over here. I'm pretty useless by about 2 o'clock, so.
Same.
Hi, everybody, I'm Sarah, and I'm the tour de force behind What I Bought Versus What I Got, a Facebook page dedicated to fighting e-commerce scams. And I love What I Got, a favorite project of mine that focuses on helping consumers find the real deal behind the images and content stolen by countless scam sites. I Love What I Got features 100% legitimate designers and artists, a list of 100% legitimate designers and artists who have been thoroughly vetted so consumers can feel secure when making online purchases from the vendors on our list. Fun fact, I created I Love What I Got in November of 2019 in the passenger seat of my husband's 18-wheeler while we ran freight up and down the West Coast. What I Bought Versus What I Got had been up and running for almost a year by then, but it was here that both pages really came into their own.
Great. Yeah, and we're so happy to have both Cheryl and Sarah part of the team. They've both been able to really help the development of Qti throughout the year, which is great.
Excuse me, Will.
So now,
yeah, I just wanted to mention that we'll be posting a lot in the chat box. So if you want to participate, if you want to ask a question or something, go right ahead. Okay, sorry, carry on.
Absolutely. Yep. Now, in this event, I'm going to run through the itinerary really quick. We want to introduce Qti to people that may be unfamiliar with our processes or services. We're also going to discuss how we've helped our clients and what innovations we've brought to the scam fighting and brand protection communities. We're going to talk and provide examples about our data, as well as ways that you can view it and implement it into your own tools and software. Finally, we're going to discuss next steps for not only Qti, but also our clients. Now, as Cheryl said, during any part of the presentation, feel free to post questions or comments in the chat, and we're going to address them at the end. Throughout the presentation, resources and links will also be posted in the chat so that you can sort of go out and explore. After any questions are addressed at the end, Cheryl will then draw the winner of the Royale Enamel clock. We have a lot to get through, so let's get started. So first thing that I'm going to do is introduce Qti. So Qti.ai is a brand protection agency that focuses and specializes on small businesses. Now, when most people think of brand protection, they think of sort of corporations, big name brands, and IP lawyers. Now, Qti is changing how people view brand protection. The team at Qti believe that brand protection is a necessity for every business, both small businesses and large businesses. Brand protection should be for everyone. Cheryl, can you explain why every business needs some sort of brand protection?
Sure. I mean, brand protection is like antivirus software for your computer, or a security alarm system for your business, or car insurance. We're all aware of potential threats to damage our assets. We're not just exactly how bad actors will manifest that malicious intent to disrupt our livelihoods. So we need tools to proactively collect lots of threat indicators to detect suspicious circumstances in advance of major calamities, to ultimately minimize the risk. So with Qti, we've learned that scammers have gotten incredibly sophisticated. They target big brands, small brands, and seemingly everybody in between. In the past few years, scammers have had the upper hand because they knew how to use big data better than the good guys. So you had this bot versus human scenario. Qti is leveling that playing field, so our bots compete with their bots. Game on.
Absolutely, and that's a really exciting innovation that we've been able to bring on to the field and try and now sort of level the playing field a little bit. So I'm going to talk a little bit about traditional brand protection and traditional brand protection methods. So here's what makes brand protection so expensive. First of all, it requires extensive knowledge of a particular brand, including product images and descriptions, logos, and intellectual property documents. This is why larger brands like Nike, they do brand protection in-house. They already have all these resources at their fingertips. Traditional brand protection also requires extensive resources. A dedicated team consisting of techies, lawyers, and product specialists are needed to identify and prosecute counterfeiters. Searching the internet for tens of thousands, or sometimes even hundreds of thousands of images takes time and, more importantly, money. Finally, if a brand wants to then prosecute and try and recover funds, extensive documentation needs to be organized and stored while a case is built. So Qti is trying to change that. We're trying to make brand protection smart. Instead of extensive knowledge of a particular brand, we have extensive knowledge about the bad actors. We know what images and descriptions they use for certain products. We know what content they have on their About Us pages and Contact Us pages. We know what fake reviews they use. All the resources that would need to be implemented for a small business to start a brand protection agency or a brand protection sector is already built and being used at Qti. We have a dedicated team, web scrapers, and we've already optimized our storage space to have all the documentation needed so that any one of our clients can take their case to the next level and begin prosecution once they request the data from us. So how can we do it? Well, it's simple. We know where to look and what to look for. Qti.ai begins by looking at suspicious websites that have been filtered out through our proprietary scam intelligence algorithm that we like to affectionately call Scammy. Rather than searching literally billions of web pages online, we sift through tens of thousands of recently created e-commerce websites that have suspicious traits deemed on what we've seen with other known scam sites. We also monitor online marketplaces such as Alibaba, eBay, Etsy, Amazon, and Walmart to see where our clients' copyrighted content is being used. So this type of strategy really revolutionizes the brand protection industry and brand protection methods. For example, here we see only a fraction of the vast catalog of the Royale Enamel brand. Instead of searching for each and every one of these images, the scam intelligence algorithm has already determined which of these images are being used by scammers. Then they only focus on these particular set of photos. And this is going to be able to capture, 95% to 99% of all the scams that are out there or that are targeting the Royale Enamel brand. By building a profile like this for each one of our clients, we're able to quickly identify infringements without consumers ever visiting the online shop. Now, Cheryl, can you comment on the strategy these scammers take when stealing the product images and creating these campaigns?
Yeah, I mean, scammers use their own nefarious algorithms to target activities that produce the highest returns on their investment. They know what products are popular at specific times of the year. They figure out the optimum price points, that sweet spot where consumers can't seem to resist what looks like a good deal. We've also discovered that scammers tend to be lazy. So if we can interfere with their flow, they often just switch to a path of less resistance with another product. Our goal is to disrupt the scam as early as possible in that consumer journey.
Yep. And that's a great point. And that's why it's so important to really know what's going on with these scammers, and not only build a profile for a brand, but build an even more comprehensive profile for these types of scams. So next, what I'm going to talk about are the tiers of delivery. So apart from creating a profile for each one of our clients' brands, we also have a more generalized profile of how these scams work. First, the lowest level is on social media platforms. Once these scammers have selected a target, they select pieces of content from their victim and begin a social media campaign using a small business's text, reviews, product images, and videos. The scammers pay hundreds of dollars to social media companies in order to get your content in front of consumers. The next level are the destination shops. Now, these are usually hosted on platforms such as Shopify or WooCommerce, but they can also be more custom without templates. These are where the consumers are guided to after they click a scam ad. Sometimes these scam shops even include the logo of popular retailers such as Best Buy, Walmart, Home Depot, and Lowe's to try and build rapport with the unsuspecting consumer. Finally, there are the highest level, which are the counterfeit manufacturers. These are sort of behind the curtain since the consumer does not directly interact with them. These are where the counterfeit products are being made and sold to the destination shop owners. These listings traditionally appear on websites such as Alibaba, AliExpress, Amazon, and 1688. Now, when a purchase is made on the destination shop, the product is then drop shipped from the manufacturer directly to the consumer. So essentially, the store owner just takes the contact information and the delivery information from the person who made the purchase, gives that to the manufacturer, and then the manufacturer just ships that product directly to the consumer. So the store owner never has to interact with the product. So they, in a lot of cases, they don't actually know what's being sold. This usually takes a much longer process. The delivery time takes a much longer time than promised on the destination shop, as they're shipped from overseas, like places like China. Since the consumer receives a product, it also makes it much more difficult for them to actually open up a claim with their bank or PayPal since they actually received a product. Now, let's take a look at what these tiers look like in practice. So in this example, we're going to take a look at the Royale Enamel as our brand. So as you can see to the right, we see just one of the over 500 scam ads that we saw on Facebook for Royale Enamel. You can see not only Royale Enamel's sort of copyrighted images on the outside, but also another artist's clockmaker's images included in the ad itself. So once a consumer clicked on any of these ads, they were then directed to a destination site that looks sort of like this. This site, again, not only contained images by Royale Enamel, but also other clockmaking artists. Many of these sites use technology such as the Facebook Pixel, Google Analytics, and PayPal to facilitate a seamless or a fast checkout process for consumers. The site is specifically set up in a way to encourage a fast purchase so consumers do not browse and become suspicious. Really, all these scammers want you to do is click the add to cart button, click the checkout button, and that's it. Once they get the money in their account, they don't care. They don't care about customer service. They don't care about, returns. They don't care about anything else. Once they have the money, it gets much more difficult for the money to be refunded or taken away from them. So finally, once a purchase is made on the destination website, the owner of the website then drop ships the consumer a counterfeit clock that can be sourced from many different marketplaces, such as Amazon, Alibaba, and 1688. When the consumer does receive their product, it's a counterfeit Royale Enamel clock. And let's take a look at what one of those counterfeits look like. So on the left side, you can see the original Facebook ad, which again includes copyrighted images by the Royale Enamel brand. And the two images to the right are the counterfeits that consumers receive. Now, really what I want to take note here is on the rightmost picture on the clock face. there's the Royale Enamel trademark and insignia. It's sort of right here. Now, this goes to show that these products aren't just knockoffs or sort of similar products to Royale Enamel. These are straight up counterfeits. They're fully fledged counterfeits. So we're going to take a look at another one of our clients, RevenantFX. So we again start with an ad campaign targeting Facebook consumers. Now, again, each one of these ads contains similar images and similar descriptions, but a lot of them point to many different destination websites. So after clicking the ad, they travel off of the social media platform, in this case, Facebook, and onto an e-commerce website. In this example, you can clearly see the PayPal logo sort of down here. And again, this helps build rapport with the consumer, even if it's subconscious. By seeing a trusted logo like the PayPal logo, it makes the consumer trust the site even more. Also, with PayPal technology, all they have to do is click the PayPal icon, and essentially, the PayPal handles the transaction from there. So you are actually being, you're making the purchase through PayPal. So you're no longer interacting with the destination site. You're now directly interacting with PayPal, which again, subconsciously, it allows the consumer to be like, oh, PayPal, I trust PayPal. They're going to make sure that I get the product and I'm able to get a refund if I need to. And in a lot of the cases, they do not support that, or they don't help you out with that. And then finally, once the consumer is fooled, the store owner then drop ships a counterfeit product from a number of different marketplaces. And what makes Revenant special is we saw many listings on not only Amazon and Alibaba, but also eBay and Walmart. These examples show how widespread the problem is for small businesses and independent artists. We know how difficult it is to run a business, let alone track all the different places where your products are being counterfeit and sold illegally. This is where Qti.ai comes in. We specialize in not only finding the content, but also removing it. And Sarah, can you comment on what Qti has been able to accomplish so far in the last 6 months?
Of course, happy to. In the last 6 months, Qti.ai has been able to develop their brand protection services for small businesses. In January, version 1 of the product was developed. In February, Qti.ai held a trial month where we tested the services with actual data and feedback from clients. In March, we were able to get our first clients after proving that our services work and work well. Since then, we've been further developing and fine-tuning our algorithms, as well as learning about the scammer strategies. We've furthered our documentation capabilities on all platforms, specifically Facebook. We can now simulate Facebook ads that have been completely removed from the Facebook platform to show how the ad would look to consumers on their feed. By the numbers, we've taken down thousands of Facebook ads infringing on our clients' rights. We've removed hundreds of Shopify stores, hundreds of listings on marketplaces such as Walmart, Amazon, and Alibaba. We've even been certified by Alibaba's IP protection program as an enterprise. This means that by signing with Qti.ai, you don't need to provide personal information to those criminals who are stealing your data. Qti.ai is authorized to represent you. We've also tested our algorithms against larger businesses to see how everything scales.
Exactly right. And this is where things start to get exciting, at least for me, as far as the capabilities of the sort of tiers and how Qti can scale. So we're going to take a look at a little bit more well-known clock brand, Rolex. The crazy thing is that the formula still applies. An ad is run on social media, which includes not only a product image, but a trademark. You can clearly see the Rolex trademark in the ad. This ad is run on social media, and when a consumer clicks to a phishing page, or when a consumer clicks on the ad, they arrive at a phishing page. The phishing page is just not holding anything back. Not only do they have product images, but they also have the trademarks and insignias of Rolex. Finally, when the consumer does make a purchase, a counterfeit watch is drop shipped from China. And again, these are actual AliExpress listings that we were able to link to this particular store. Now, in this example, we're going to see two separate entities being targeted at once, Walmart and Dyson. The ad is a clearly photoshopped image containing a Walmart employee holding a Dyson vacuum. The Dyson and Walmart logos are very clearly visible. Now, when a consumer clicks through to the destination website, they arrive at a store with a logo of the Walmart brand, and they're supposedly selling legitimate Dyson products at a discounted price. When they do make a purchase, a battery or a counterfeit Dyson accessory may be shipped to them or drop shipped to them. Again, the reason why they do eventually ship a related product, is to make it super difficult for them to open up a claim with their bank or with PayPal, since the first question is, well, what did you receive? And if you ordered a Dyson vacuum and you got a Dyson battery, you know, it is criminal, but it gives the PayPal and banks that ability for some wiggle room in order to say, well, you did technically receive something. We're going to take a look at Samsung next. And this was one of the most concerning ads that we've come across. Even I had a difficult time discerning the validity of this ad at first glance. So I'll explain why in a second. However, we see the same formula. It starts off with a Facebook ad. And essentially that Facebook ad, it directs to a phishing page. And finally, if the consumer does make a purchase on this phishing page, they're going to likely receive a phone accessory such as a case or earbuds. So the reason why this ad was so difficult to prove as false, at least for me, was because they used identical product images as actual Samsung ads. So the left image is the image of the screenshot of the scam website. And the right image is an actual Samsung ad that I saw on my YouTube feed. So I was doing background research on the Samsung ads, and then I was scrolling through YouTube and saw the exact same image pop up. Again, to reiterate, this formula doesn't only work for the little guys. Qti's algorithms are picking up phishing websites for well-established brands constantly. Still don't believe it? Just to drive the point home, I'm going to rapid fire some other brands that have appeared in our databases. We're going to start off with Dick's Sporting Goods. Dick's Sporting Goods is one of the largest sports equipment distributor in the United States. Since sports equipment is traditionally more expensive, the sales are very enticing for consumers. Next, we have Costco. Costco is one of the most phished websites in our databases. And in this case, it's they're actually similar to the Walmart and Dyson scam. It's a fake Costco website selling fake Extreme Tools products. So Extreme Tools is another brand that sell these sort of rolling cabinets for garages and workshops. So it's a scam within a scam. Again, Wayfair. Wayfair is extremely popular. It's discounted furniture, and it's very enticing for consumers. These sites usually contain unrealistic prices and unrealistic delivery times. And I'm not talking like, oh, we'll deliver by the end of the week. We're saying delivery within 24 hours. And this is a classic too good to be true circumstance, but I mean, we all have fell for a too good to be true circumstance in different situations. Now, all these scammers need is one or two conversions. And when I say conversion, I essentially mean a purchase from an unsuspecting consumer in order to pay for the tens of thousands of impressions that they got on social media platforms. And then they've already paid for the ad that they had and made a comfortable profit, which a lot of the times they just use to register new domain names and start more ad campaigns. So it's a very, very lucrative process. Actually, Homestore is very similar to the Wayfair scams and what products they tend to sell. So again, it's discounted furniture. Best Buy, now in recent months, Best Buy scams have gone down according to our data, but still we've been able to document them and record them as they pop up. These sites still include the Best Buy logo, and in this case, they actually include a Best Buy storefront in order to, again, build rapport and even subconsciously gain the trust of consumers. But the problem here is that both the storefront, that's a copyrighted image, and the trademark itself, that's a trademarked logo. So, if we were able to pursue legal action against this particular website, we would do it for copyright infringement and trademark infringement. This example shows just how little these bad actors actually care about the quality of the websites they put up. So in this case, it seems like that what they were going for was a Wayfair scam, but they accidentally uploaded the wrong storefront image, and they have a picture of the Lowe's storefront on a website that's really meant to be a Wayfair scam. And even luxury companies whose entire brand depends on the scarcity and quality of their products cannot keep up with these phishing websites. Not only is it Louis Vuitton, but we've also seen Gucci websites, Balenciaga websites, Saint Laurent websites, all appear in our databases pretty consistently. And finally, Apple. Apple is the largest consumer technology company in the world based on revenue. And even though they have some of the deepest pockets in the world, they still are victims to copyright infringement and trademark infringement. That all their products commonly appear in Qti databases. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. We have so many of these websites logged and documented in our database that we're literally giving the information out. At QTI, our #1 guiding principle is to protect the consumer. By releasing the website information on Twitter, hopefully server hosts will take action faster. Plus, if a consumer does become suspicious and decides to do some background research, they'll likely find some of our posts regarding the legitimacy of an e-commerce website. This Twitter is 100% public, and you can find it via the handle @ScammyBot. I think Cheryl is going to post a link to the Twitter, but you can literally go to the Twitter right now. Whenever ScammyBot finds a suspicious website infringing on a corporation's trademark or copyright, not only alerts the brand, but it also alerts the server host. It has some hashtags to hopefully get it spread around in the scam fighting community. It also alerts consumers. Now, this is currently the only automated Twitter bot in the world that alerts to intellectual property infringement. And Cheryl, can you explain a little bit more about why this data is useful and why it's so important?
Yeah, I mean, this evidentiary data is absolutely critical because it documents criminal activity early in the consumer journey via these e-commerce scams. So you think about traditional counterfeits, and law enforcement has reacted to counterfeit syndicates raiding factories and warehouses after the products have been manufactured and ready for distribution. So QTI's data pinpoints the crime far upstream in the retail experience. So with that power of big data, we can follow the money from the very beginning of the scam to the end, producing very compelling financial crime intelligence, which can be lethal in a court of law.
Absolutely. And that is why we are so very, very excited to announce a collaboration between Risiko-Tech, which is a Singapore-based company, and Qti.ai. Now, Risiko-Tech and their Amalia technology has been able to provide invaluable data regarding individuals and organizations who have orchestrated counterfeiting attacks on small businesses. Just like QTI, Risiko-Tech knows where to look and what to look for. This provides our clients unprecedented data that can be used to prosecute overseas organizations and individuals who infringe on their rights. Now, at the same time, QTI is providing Risiko-Tech information regarding where their clients' counterfeit products are currently being distributed online. As soon as the website is documented by QTI services, we can then progress to takedowns and actually securing the brand. As I said, Qti.ai is incredibly excited to work together with the Risiko-Tech team to provide our clients the resources they need in order to take their cases to the next level. Sarah, apart from expanding on this collaboration, what else does Qti.ai have in store for the rest of the year?
Qti.ai plans to continue to develop. Specifically, we'll be developing our technology and relationships with other people in brand protection, intellectual property, and scam fighting communities. The year is already halfway done, but Qti.ai has come a long way in those 6 months. We plan to keep this momentum to finish out 2022. Let's take a look at what we have in store.
Absolutely, and this is I'm going to be honest, this is the most exciting part of the presentation for me because we're going to talk about some new tech coming to QTI. So the #1 guiding principle for Qti.ai has been and will continue to be protecting the consumer, as I said earlier. We pride ourselves on knowing where to look and what to look for. In the last few months, we've seen a disproportionate number of fake ads appear on Meta platforms, so Facebook and Instagram. In the next few months, the scam intelligence algorithm will be joining the fight on Facebook. Facebook users, consumers, and scam fighters will be able to tag and send the ScammyBot page suspicious ads or posts, which will then be reviewed by our team. And all information pertaining to these posts will be then collected and documented on Qti.ai's servers, therefore eliminating the possibility of a loss of documentation from either a deleted or a hidden post. The ScammyBot page will also automatically warn consumers about currently active scams on the Facebook platform as other Facebook pages and groups currently do. Although Qti.ai can monitor new e-commerce websites as they pop up, many scammers have been utilizing the already built infrastructure of online marketplaces such as Amazon and Walmart to host copyrighted images. There's currently no easy way to search these sort of marketplaces unless they already have a built-in image reverse search engine, which many of them don't. So this is why QTI is going to be taking the initiative to build a multi-platform e-commerce reverse image search engine tool, also known as Maris by Qti.ai. This tool will allow for users to search millions of images that are hosted specifically on e-commerce marketplaces. Users will then be able to see where their copyrighted work is being used on those listings. So this is a big deal. As with most technology from Qti.ai, this tool will be available for free with limited features to all small business owners and artists for free. So it's going to be similar to the scam intelligence algorithm, where you can sort of go to the QTI website and post a domain, then it's going to give you some information regarding it. Now, Qti.ai also prioritizes our clients. We want to make sure that, that as much power is given to the clients as possible. We want them to be able to access their data at any time from anywhere. And this is why we are going to be developing a client interface that can be accessed via mobile phone or desktop to submit infringements for review, check the status of submitted infringements, and request on-demand reports. This will give the power back to brand owners, as they can use this data to build reports, or they can use this data and reports to then pursue legal action against the bad actors who have violated their rights. But these next steps are on the techie side of things. Like I said, I build robots. I'm just a big nerd. We want to do more than just develop our algorithms and write code. Cheryl, can you discuss a little bit more about how we plan to further our business-to-business relationships?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say our ideal strategic partner recognizes the value of QTI's evidentiary data, again, early in the criminal process. We authenticate the proof of wrongdoing early and often via those intellectual property rights infringements. And honestly, I mean, it's been a pure joy working with our current clients who share their knowledge of the industry and keep wanting to learn more and do more, because we know the scammers are always trying to build better mousetraps. And those laboratories for experimentation usually start on social media platforms. So Sarah, can you elaborate on those kinds of communities?
We're going to continue to establish the Qti.ai service in the scam fighting community. And we're going to do this by providing resources to both victims and fighters. With ScammyBot joining Facebook, it will encourage a new way for scams to be recorded and tracked over time. I will also continue to publish stories of scam fighters and victims who have been taken advantage of by these bad actors. All of my articles are published on Qti.ai and can be accessed from my pages, what I bought versus what I got, and I love what I got.
Yes. Yeah, and we're so, again, happy to have Sarah continue to post articles and write articles for us. She's probably reached out to most of our clients to ask and do a little interview just so that we can have that data and we can give some more, publicity to your brand after you've been hit with some of these bad actors attacking. Now, finally, I'd like to conclude this event by putting in my 2 cents into this question. How do we turn the tide in the fight against fighting e-commerce fraud? Well, here's the problem. Almost every scam fighting organization, all their data shows that we're losing. We know that scams are growing at a faster rate, especially ever since COVID started. Here are a few ways that we believe will slow the spread. Number 1, we have to do more than detect. We have to remove. And don't get me wrong, detection is a great first step, but it's traditionally retroactive, AKA the consumer gets scammed and then the site is reported to authorities. Now, once the site is reported, a case must be brought up not only against the site, but also the site owner and the manufacturers of the counterfeits. It's a long fight to get the site removed for scamming someone. It's actually very difficult to prove that you've been scammed in a court of law, which is unfortunate and kind of surprising. Removing websites through the means such as IP infringement is by far the fastest, most efficient, and most certain way these scam sites can be shut down. Number 2, follow the money. Building successful strategies to hold these bad actors accountable is critical in this fight. This is why I'm so excited to be working with the Recico Tech team to bolster these strategies. And finally, number 3, which I sort of just mentioned, hold all tiers of delivery accountable. From social media to destination sites to manufacturers, all these tiers need to be held to higher standards to protect the intellectual property rights of individuals and small businesses. When they do proactively support small businesses' rights, scammers will have no content to post as they have no original content to display. And with that, we've finished the majority of our presentation. But again, thank you guys so much for listening. We're going to open the floor to any questions or comments. And again, just to remind you, you can ask questions or comments through the chat function on Zoom.
Yeah, Will, I've accumulated a few. The first one was, are you hitting Pinterest too? And I think that speaks to kind of the larger issue that in some cases, reposting product images can be a good thing. So how do you make sure you don't remove images that actually help promote the brand?
Yeah, so to address the question specifically with Pinterest, yes, we've had many successful removals off Pinterest. Actually, I think Pinterest was the first organization that we reached out that we were able to get successful removals from. Pinterest, they have a built-in sort of copyright DMCA request. DMCA is the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. So that's how we are able to submit copyright infringement takedown requests on behalf of our clients. So yes, we do work with Pinterest and we do use those resources. And to answer the other question, that's the next part of that, is how do we make sure that the content that we do remove is actually harmful to the brand? What we do is every single takedown we do is reviewed by our team. So we have human beings reviewing each and every one of these websites that we're reporting. And if, for example, your image appears on, a blog post that is supporting your brand or that is saying, hey, check out this great Royale Enamel clock, we take that into account, and obviously we don't pursue a takedown on those types of websites. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, we have another question about, will it work for non-English speaking shopping sites such as Shopee, Cdiscount, YouBuy, and so forth?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. And this is, again, why this Maris product, the multi-platform e-commerce reverse image search engine tool, that's why it's going to be so powerful. So yes, we have seen a lot of infringements on platforms such as Shopee and YouBuy, and we have been successful with removing those sort of websites as well. And right now, when we're looking for text, it's all English based. And I think that there's a couple of Latin phrases that we look for, as well as Spanish phrases that we look for. But like 99% of the phrases in our databases that we indicate as suspicious are in English. So that's why having a tool that doesn't look for language, instead it looks for the actual infringing content and the actual content that is that we can prosecute against and that we can report. That's why that's going to be so powerful, and it's going to be a really big innovation specifically for the brand protection community when it comes to e-commerce sites.
Okay. Have you reached out to Martin Lewis or others that are used for crypto or investment scams?
Yeah, so crypto right now, traditionally what we're doing is we have not really entered the crypto sphere. We haven't really done much work with NFTs or other sort of cryptocurrencies or those types of scams. So the thing is that I believe that our algorithms would be able to handle crypto scams as far as more content-based. So what we can do is we can look out for suspicious phrases such as, multi-level marketing or, triple your return in the first 3 days or something like that, where we can sort of look for those generalized phrases. And again, once we find those types of websites, then we can review it by our team and determine whether they're actually fraudulent or not. That does move a little bit away from the more of brand protection sort of focus that we've had for the last year, and we'll probably finish off the year continuing with this brand protection sort of focus. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to eventually reach out and start doing work in the crypto sphere either. But that's a really good question. Yeah,
actually, we just we're unmuting Dave Brees, who has an extensive question about Chinese scam sites. So Dave, you want to just go ahead?
Absolutely.
This cropped up today. Somebody on Etsy, a potential customer, sent me a link to yet another Chinese scam site. This wasn't to a Facebook advert, it was to the actual Chinese scam site. And I did a right click search with Google Lens, and the Google Lens page just went dead. You know, I've never seen it happen before, and I don't know if there's something wrong with my computer or what. But anyway, what I did was I saved the image by the image address, and then I went to Google reverse image search page. I put in the URL, and it took me to a page that had some other Chinese scam sites on that I knew of that had my clocks on, but it didn't take me to my Etsy store. It didn't take me to, you know, my website. It didn't take me to the good places where my images are. Never seen it happen before. I really don't know, you know, if this was just a fluke or whatever, but it's something that's got to be looked into, I think, Will, because, you know, if you lose the photograph, you know, it's, you know, these Chinese are so damn clever. That's the problem. That's what we're up against, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reverse image search engine tool and the sort of capabilities that this is the Maris software is going to be able to accomplish. Essentially, it's going to eliminate any flukes, right? And it's going to specifically be looking for those sites so that we can quickly or more efficiently be able to identify them as soon as they pop up. So, for example, with Google Image Reverse Search, the problem with them is, you know, that's another technology that we do leverage, and we do use Google Reverse Image Search engines, but they don't pick up everything. And it's because the internet is literally just billions and billions of web pages. And you can't be scanning, you know, billions and billions of web pages. Doesn't matter how vast, you know, your company is. So that's why if we focus in on these e-commerce specific websites, we're going to be able to hit them much quicker, and we're able to pick up infringements. First of all, more infringements, but also more quality infringements. So, you know, there's not going to be a blog post on Amazon about your content. So it's going to be much more likely that when we do find a post that we're just going to remove it.
Most people, though, when they suspect photo, or they see something that's too good to be true, then it probably isn't true, as we say, then they right click, you know, search the image. And it always used to go to my Etsy store. And similar clocks, some of them on scam sites, but this just went to an almost blank page, right? With, I don't know, just a few links on, but no clocks looking like mine. Some blank web pages sort of thing. How can they do that? You know, are they now putting images on their websites that you cannot search?
Actually, sorry, Jennifer Cook has some thoughts on that. You know, Jennifer is an amazing artist and sculptor for snake arts.
Jennifer.
So hopefully, Jennifer, did I unmute you?
You did. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good, great, thank you.
So in the last year, as I've been looking and using my own images, I've noticed that if I upload a large image to the Google search engine, my content will come up. But if I take a screenshot of one of the small scam images and then search that, and it can only be 64 by 64 pixels wide, then the scam image will come up. So the Google search many times is dependent on the size of the original image and how their algorithm works to find silhouettes and shapes and colors versus the actual pixels in the image.
Yeah, it's very feature dependent. So if you change some of the features even slightly, it's going to give you a different sort of result page, I guess. And Dave, that's probably what's going on, especially if you're saying that you're taking not one of your product images, which is probably more high def or high res, and you're taking it instead of a scammer's image.
This particular I took in the same place as I take all my photos in my own house. You know,
and sometimes it's like the metadata, and sometimes it's like the data included in the file or something like that may, you know, give Google a different path. But yeah, that's a great question, and hopefully the Maris software is going to be able to sort of tackle that a little bit more. Cheryl, are there any other questions?
Yes, we've gotten some privately. We've all heard stories about big social media platforms' tendency toward dirty tricks when smaller players seem to threaten them, you know, or really just hold them to higher standards. So how will QTI guard against that in a court of law?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we have, like I sort of explained in the presentation, there's been a huge uptick in Facebook scams in the last couple months. And I think that almost everyone, each one of our clients have experienced a Facebook scam ad at least once in their fight against scams. So, you know, we're doing a lot of documentation for those Facebook ads. And that's why in the last couple months, we've really focused in a lot on making sure that these scams are being documented. And I think, like I said, we're able to actually create, and I think about bringing it back from the dead, where we're able to recreate Facebook images and Facebook ads that have been previously taken down and removed. And we have, this is one of my favorite possessions right now, but we have this entire document. It's a 500-page report, double-sided, fully covered, of fake Facebook ads. And people would be like, wow, that took you months to compile and to make and everything like that. That was 3 days. 500, you know, fake, clearly infringing ads that QTI was able to pick up. I think it was between June 7th and June 10th. And we have this document, and it's just like we have so much data that we want to make sure that the consumers are being protected. That's why we're releasing some of it online. And I hope that answers the question a little bit more.
Okay. And what's your timeline on the client user interface?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the client user interface, like I said, we've been building a lot of infrastructure more towards Facebook. So that's where a lot of the development has been going in the last couple months, or the last month at least. The client interface, I'm hoping to get an early version out definitely by the end of the year. And that might not be for all of our clients. It may just be for like the current ones, just because we've been able to, you know, get very candid feedback, very honest feedback about all of our products and services. So as we continue to develop this, hopefully what we're going to be able to do is, you know, talk to Matt from Clock99, or talk to Dave from Royale Enamel, or talk to Jennifer from Snake Arts, and say, hey, here's our interface, here's version 1. What do you think? What do you like? What do you don't like? And we're hopefully going to be able to get some iterations there. Full timeline for a fully released product that I think that we can release to all of our clients will probably be either very late 2022 or early 2023.
Super, thank you. And this is probably the last one we have time for, but
Okay.
Do you need to engage a lawyer to enforce intellectual property rights?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and that's one that we've had quite a lot. It really depends on what level you're looking to enforce it on. Now, the DMCA, which is the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, that stipulates that all you have to do in order to, or all you have to be in order to submit a copyright takedown request is going to be, you have to be an authorized representative of the brand or of the copyright, or the copyright owner. So sorry, let me rephrase that. The copyright owner or the authorized representative of the copyright owner. In QTI's case, we're obviously an authorized representative. So when we do submit these DMCA takedown requests, we have to essentially prove that we are authorized by these brands to actually act on their behalf and remove the content. Now, if you do want to take it to the next level, so for example, we've received counter notices, unfounded counter notices, that say, no, I do own this content and I want the content to be replaced in 14 days. That's really where QTI at the moment that's the end of our journey. But that's again why we're so excited to be working with organizations such as Recico Tech, who do have the connections to be able to put our clients in contact with not only lawyers, but lawyers that can practice in the jurisdictions where these actual bad actors are currently residing in. So again, I hope that answers the question. But I think that that's about it for this presentation. So Cheryl, to finish everything off, of course, we would like to thank everybody for listening and attending the first ever QTI Canvas event. We especially would like to thank our clients who have provided candid feedback on all of our services and have trusted us with their brand. Now I'm going to hand the rest off to Cheryl, who will draw one lucky winner of the Royal Enamel clock. And another big thanks to Dave from Royal Enamel for donating his wonderful clock to the event.
All right, I mean,
Cheryl,
let's face
take
it.
it away.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, this is what we've all been waiting for.
Can't say that. You can't say that.
Okay. All right. So Brian Gudmundson. No kidding.
Oh, Brian.
Yeah. So there he is.
Brian.
Yeah. I mean, no kidding.
Sweet.
Yeah. So Brian, we'll just send it to your office if that's okay.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah. So the Minnesota office, right?
Yep.
The Minneapolis. Okay.
Yep.
Phenomenal.
Awesome.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, congratulations, Brian.
Yeah. One more.
So yeah, that's really about it for what we have. Again, you can get in contact with me or anybody at the QTI team through contact@Qti.ai, or my email address is will@Qti, Cheryl is Cheryl@Qti.ai, Sarah's at Sarah@Qti.ai. So we have super complicated email addresses. But again, thank you everyone so much for attending. If you have any questions, again, you can reach out to our social media pages or reach out to us on social media. But other than that, that's really all we have. So thank you guys so much for attending, and have a great rest of your day.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye-bye.